Lock with the cup. Ooh.
That's right. 1 week away, folks. Saturday's coming along, and we got football all season long. Let's stop this stuff. Welcome, everybody, to the Dadbodd podcast, episode number 91. We are getting close to the century mark here, folks. I am Guns Picks, joined with me, as always, the crew. We have Pun Picks, and we have Lock Bets. Start with you, Pun Picks. How you feeling?
Great. It's Big 12 time.
This is the one you've been waiting for, I think.
This is the one I've been waiting for, and I think a lot of people have been waiting for it. We got a lot of Twitter interaction.
Oh, yeah. I think
a lot of Baylor love.
Do the G5s, but I mean, all right. We'll do them all. We're going to get there eventually. It's going to be a long climb. Lock Bets.
I still can't use them being called G5s, by the way.
Yeah, I say non-P5. It's P5, non-P5.
What's a G5?
It's like the...
It's a new Gatorade.
Yeah, it's a G. Yeah, it is a new Gatorade. So it's basically the MAC, the Sun Belt, the lower AAC, like all those conferences are considered part of the non-P5 or G5.
So it's like the
yes. I've just never used P5. I've always used Power 5.
Teams ideally that don't play on January 1st, and they get their bowls done by like the.
Well, those are the teams we make money on.
Other than Cincinnati.
There's money. There's money to be made in the G5 world. Let me tell you. But man, yeah, we're not talking G5s though. We're talking Big 12 football, and I think
they're still a Power 5 for now.
If you're watching at home right now, Lock Bets is He's actually at a tailgate at Oklahoma State. It is starting early.
That's right, boys. We're cooking. We're cooking, as you guys can see behind me. I'm ready for NCAA season. All right. I've been out here for the last 2 weeks. It's raining today, as you can see, and Pun could confirm. But I'm ready to tailgate, boys. I spoke with Mike Gundy today. He said his one-armed push-up is giving him a lot of torque in his bedroom life. So that's a sharp take to listen to. Mike Gundy, he's got one side of the body that he's implementing into his bedroom life, he told me. And he said it's really paying off. But all kidding aside, I do think this is Pun Picks' parking lot.
Yes.
And I'm ready to be here. I'm happy to be here, guys.
I wish it was my driveway. But no, I know where that is. It's a great spot. If you went a little bit behind that, about 100 yards behind that, probably be where my spot was.
Okay. Well, hey, I'll walk over there later.
Yeah. So once we get done, meander over there, and we'll get you a couple of brewskis.
Hell yeah! I'm having an identity crisis because I missed my SEC preview.
I know.
I've been in the doghouse. But I'm back. Listen.
So real quick, before we get started on the Big 12, let's get Locke's take on South Carolina. We missed that during our SEC. What do you think?
I mean, if you guys remember correctly, I thought we had our college football preview show a month and a half ago, 2 months ago, right?
Right.
I think I dropped my one prop that I loved was South Carolina at the time. It was like over 4.5 games won. I think that's a lock and a half. They're playing teams like Tennessee, which is I still think that they're a joke. I mean, maybe that's just still in my frat party days at South Carolina, but Tennessee can't hold their jock strap to, the Alabamas of the world or the, larger teams, Georgia. Tennessee's in the same fucking ballpark as South Carolina. So fuck them, first off. And South Carolina, they're in good shape. Great coaching staff. I mean, you probably have the youngest, best, mind that you could have gotten for that price, right? I mean, you got a guy that worked under Spurrier for years, recruited for years with Spurrier, worked with Lincoln Riley for years. And what is he, year 3 now? And year 3 is where you take that jump. So I'm all in on South Carolina. You got the best player, preseason best player in the world from 2 years ago, Spencer Rattler. Or was that last year?
Right. It could have been. Yeah, it was last year.
Yeah, last year. I mean, if we were doing this preseason show last year,
Heisman front runner last year, right?
That's correct. Spencer Rattler. Right. Well, guess what? He's in Columbia, South Carolina. All right. So there's a new energy in South Carolina. Beautiful energy. Shane Beamer's back, and guys, I'm tickled pink. All right. Until we're 3 and 9, and then I'm coming back on this show next year with a somber face. I'm pumped. I'm fucking pumped, guys.
There you have it. There's the lock take.
Yeah.
But we didn't come here for the SEC. If you want to go check out the SEC show, Google Dadbodd podcast and look for it. It's there. Let's do an ad read, and then let's get to the teams. We have 10 teams to go through, and I'll explain how we do that after a word from our sponsor.
This podcast is sponsored by Viva Tequila Seltzers.
That's right. The Dadbodd podcast is sponsored by Viva Tequila Seltzers. Viva Tequila Seltzers is refreshing and drinkable hard seltzer, 88 calories, 0 carbs, 0 sugar, and 4.5 ABV. Viva is the perfect drink for your Big 12 post-game celebrations, as it was created the active lifestyle in mind. Viva flavors their tequila seltzers because flavor is the spice of life, and they like their drinks with a kick, just like they like to live their lives. Viva flavors perfectly with their artisanal Blanco tequila for a subtle and refreshing drinks. Their belief is to live long, live well, and live it up. Hashtag Viva Up. And go check them out on Twitter at Viva Seltzers. There you have it, folks. Time for some Big 12. I want to explain how we're going to do this. If you haven't watched any of the previous podcasts, this is how we break it down. So we talk strengths, we talk weaknesses, we talk game to watch. And at the end, we do that for every team, and we rank them at the end. So in this one, there's not going to be split conferences here. We got 10 teams, all in one, rank them 1 to 10, and then we'll have some nukes maybe. Do you have any nukes on the overs and unders, team totals, and win totals?
You know it.
Yeah, I got a few of those myself.
You know it.
And we are ready to roll. Let's start with the team in question. Lockbet just joined us here. Just did a quick explanation. Now we're getting to the teams. Oklahoma is the first team. Boomer Sooner. Disappointing season to their standards last year, and drastic changes in not only the coaching, but the players as well. So I'll start with you, Pond. The Big 12 shooter himself, the Cowboy. What do you think of Oklahoma?
So I, of course, want them to be bad.
Sure.
Obviously. Yeah. But I think they're going to be pretty good. They have a favorable schedule. The game at Nebraska will be tough. But other than that, they get Oklahoma State at home, and they get a road game at Baylor. And that's basically their 3 big games other than the Red River rivalry, which is obviously down to the Cotton Bowl. I don't know, man. I see OU at worst 10-2.
Yeah,
at worst.
Right.
Because the only thing I will say about Oklahoma is obviously coaching change. Not one thing, but the coaching changes. Huge turnover on the defensive line. New quarterback.
Yep.
That's the question marks. But they're Oklahoma. They reload. They have better players than everybody in the conference. Venables, everybody here is hyped up to the fucking max. I mean, to the max about Venables. Like he's walking on water in Norman. So I think they're going to be good, guys. I think they're going to be very good. I don't think they're playoff good, but I think they're going to be good enough to win the Big 12. I don't think a Big 12 team gets into the playoff this year, but I think they're going to be very good.
Right. Yeah.
What do you guys think?
It's going to be a competitive conference. Lockbets, what do you think? Oklahoma.
I'm not buying what Pun is selling. I'm not buying what Guns is selling either, guys.
I haven't even sold anything yet.
You agreed, though. You agreed.
You can just tell what he's selling when he's licking those lips.
You're guilty by association.
You don't know what I'm going to say about this team. I'm just shaking my head because I'm taking in the information.
Okay, so you're not buying what I'm saying. What do you?
They're in shambles. That team is in shambles. Guys, get out while you can. Get out of the van while you can right now. Venables.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it.
Assistant coach Cale Gundy couldn't stay there, right? Cale Gundy couldn't stay. The players, they're not on board. And Pun, you talked yourself into that one. You said new coach, new quarterback, and they lost their defense. So where are we coming up with this 10-2? I'm going to tell you some teams they're going to lose to this year, and I'm going to tell you what. I think a team like Kansas State, don't sleep on them. All right, Kansas State. Now listen, I know Kansas State is always good for those 2 games this season. All right, 2 games. They may only win 6, but Kansas State. Vaughn is back. Deuce Vaughn's still there. The 5'5" phenom. Out of Earl Boykins' book. He's still there. He can run it down there, throw it at any given time.
Oh, totally.
Venables a Clemson guy. All right.
Well, K-State is a team that OU has trouble with historically.
Right.
So I do agree with you there. I do agree with you there.
Listen, I'm drinking the Kool-Aid against this team. Listen, Lincoln Riley, the writing was on the wall. He did not. I mean, his last year was an absolute train wreck. So how do you see a new coach coming into that and just picking up these pieces? People transferred. There's a new quarterback. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Texas beats them. You know, you got Texas, you got TCU. TCU is not an easy one. Oklahoma State's never an easy one.
I know.
Yeah,
I've seen this too many times. I mean, the last time OU won 9 games was, I can't tell you when. I mean, I mean, the last time they've won less than 10 games was just, maybe last year.
How did Lincoln Riley do his?
I think they went 10-2 last year, but
how did Lincoln Riley do his first year? I guess he got Stoops',
Yeah, he just
picked up the Stoops pieces at that point.
But yeah, Stoops just left on a high note, right? I mean, Stoops was at the top of his game when he left, right? Or did I make that up?
They were okay. Yeah, I mean, Stoops did well. I mean, they won one.
No, he had to leave
22 years ago. But
yeah,
I got a take on Oklahoma.
Go ahead.
All right,
we got to hear your take. We need to hear a take. One more take.
So, my opinion on the situation in Oklahoma, Lincoln Riley jumping ship, going to USC. There's reasons for that. You only have so much control at Oklahoma if you're the coach there. So I think Stoops is still heavily involved. I think he's got some, infractions that he had to dodge. And for him to be the coach would just draw light to it. And he's biding his time before he takes the position again. I think Venables is just a placeholder.
No, that's wrong.
But that's just a theory that I have.
No.
And go on mute, please.
Listen.
Mute your mic.
I was silent when you did your take. Now let me have my turn. This is fucking college football, baby. All right, so I digress. All right, so Venables as a coach is going to be there. The great defensive guru for Clemson, coming over first time as a head coach. He picks this position. He has Dylan Gabriel as the quarterback, and everyone. And you're making this point that Williams was like a great quarterback for Oklahoma. I didn't think he was off the charts great. I think he had great moments. I think everyone remembers the Red River rivalry and how he performed in that spot. But what else did he really do? Quarterback for
Caleb
Oklahoma.
Williams. Yeah.
So you got Dylan Gabriel in here, proven quarterback, UCF, Lightning, can throw the ball. He can run. He's got mobility. He's kind of that prototypical quarterback that Oklahoma is used to getting. I think there's going to be an easy transition there when you have the top receivers coming back from last season. And you also have a top 10 offensive line for Oklahoma. And if you want to go into their schedule, the schedule is 40 first toughest schedule in the country. So they're not really having any tough road games. Their tough road games this year are West Virginia, and they get Baylor, and of course they get the Bedlam rematch, which is kind of a revenge spot, in my opinion. I don't think there's going to be much of a drop-off here, because I think that the cores, at least from the offensive side, did stay. They do have a lot of questions on defense, but I think that Oklahoma, in my opinion, except for the past couple of years, have always had questions on their defense. And if there's anybody that knows defense better than anybody in the country, it's Venables, and he's proven that. So, we'll see how the defense, I think that's going to be a key component for them to focus on and gain strength, because I think the offense is going to be okay.
Well, and you can't leave out that Venables was a defensive coordinator at Oklahoma before he went to Clemson.
Yeah.
So it's not like he's walking into a situation he's never been in.
Right.
He was there under Stoops for quite a while after he fired his brother.
Mm-hmm.
So now is Bob Stoops coming back? The answer to that is absolutely fucking no. I mean,
that was like a conspiracy theory.
Yeah, I mean that's garbage. That's not happening.
Sometimes I said it's just a theory. That's all I said. Yeah. If that's just one take you could have on it.
When Gunn said that, I imagined Bob Stoops just in his Jerry Jones owner's box, calling into the sidelines.
He does have an office in the stadium, and he's there all the time. But he's also a new head coach for.
All right. Well, maybe I spend a little bit too much on the dark web, getting into the chat forums. And
I know you spend a lot of time somewhere on the dark web, but
let's not get too deep into that guy.
All right. Game to watch this season. What do you think is the key game that you see on the schedule for Oklahoma that could be a potential value betting spot, or just an important game in general for Oklahoma this season?
Nebraska. It's a rivalry game. Nebraska almost beat them in Norman last year. Nebraska is going to be improved. Lincoln it's going to be a tough place to play. Old Big 8 rivals, bitter rivals.
Really?
And that was a bigger rivalry than OU Texas was in the 80s. Cheers, Sam. And that was ultimate rivalry in the 70s, 80s was right. OU Nebraska.
I wasn't
so before Texas joined before the Big 12 was joined, it was the Big 8, and Texas was in the Southwest Conference. So OU Texas didn't play as often. Anyway, but that's a big game to me, because that will show me what OU's like, because they do have a lot of question marks. New coach, new quarterback, new D-line, a lot of transfers.
Right.
A lot of new players. That's the game to watch.
Lock bets. What do you think? What's the game to watch for Oklahoma this season?
Do
you have one?
I don't know. I think Texas, Oklahoma is going to be a good one. I mean, the Red River rivalry never disappoints.
Yeah.
Especially
I still like the coach that's in his second or third year versus the brand new coach. I'm not buying Texas whatsoever. I wouldn't say that. I don't think they're going to be a top 10 team. I think there's something going on in Oklahoma. All right. Maybe my Gamecock, maybe my game cockiness, but I just think Brent Venables is Eric Mangini. Okay.
I hope you're right. I fucking hope you're right. So I hope you're right.
I think he's 2 or 3 and done. He's gonna be like a Will Muschamp. He's literally a Will Muschamp. So that's my take. So game to watch. I like the Red River rivalry. I always watch Oklahoma State. I love watching Oklahoma State, beat Oklahoma. So, I'm with you on that.
Thank you for that.
But I'm looking at September 24th. Get your popcorn ready, all right? They're going to beat Kent State. They're going to beat Nebraska. And then they're going to have this little powder puff game with Kansas State. Not so fast.
Yeah. I agree.
They're going to punch him in the mouth. They're just going to punch him in the mouth. All right.
I'm gonna, when we get to Kansas State, I think I'm on the same boat as you, and I'm gonna be high on them. So I'm looking at October 5th. Not October 5th. I'm sorry, November 5th. Remember the 5th of November, Guy Fawkes Day. Revenge spot to the max. they played Baylor at home. They lost 27-14 to them last year, and it kind of ruined their season.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was a pivotal game to the success of that team and pretty much crushed them as far as getting into the college football playoff yet again. And they lost as 4-point favorites by 13. I think this is a big-time revenge spot that they circled. I think they have a few of those games this season, but that one to me is that they're looking at that game. That'll be the first big game on the schedule, I think, and I think Oklahoma is going to come out blazing if they're as good as I think they're going to be.
I hope it's at night.
Wow.
Yeah, I do too. Next team. Speaking of Baylor, let's talk Baylor. Let's talk the Golden Bears. This team is the Big 12 reigning champion. Lot of losses on this team. They had a big year. I'm going to start with you, Pun.
Yeah.
The Bears, the dream crushers of the Cowboys. What do you think?
So Baylor is a team that I hate almost as much as OU.
You got to take your bias out of this.
Are they like number 2?
No, my bias is completely out. Yeah, they're number 2. They'll be Oklahoma.
No. Let's be clear here. I am not doing this by ranking.
We'll rank them at the end.
That's correct.
Baylor will be Oklahoma State's biggest rival once OU leaves to go to the SEC. So I like Baylor. They have 5 return. They have all their starting return offensive linemen. They run the ball down people's throats. They have a better quarterback. I think Shaven is better than O'Bannon at quarterback. I saw it in person down at Jerry's World when Oklahoma State lost by an inch in that Big 12 title game.
Yeah.
I think Baylor is going to be fine. Great coach, favorable schedule. I know they have BYU at BYU. That will be a very telling game. They get Oklahoma State at home. They go to Oklahoma, like we talked about. But other than that, and I guess they finish at Texas.
Right.
I think we all probably don't think Texas is going to be as good as advertised. Baylor's a dark horse playoff team because I think they have the name recognition now to get in if they make a run. A lot of people are talking to them, nationally. Cowherd is kind of talking them up right now. So that's what you need in college football is national recognition to get up into that top 4. So I don't think they're going to make it. I think they're going to finish second in the Big 12. But I love this Baylor team, and I love their total. So we'll talk about that at the end. Baylor's going to run well. Great offensive line, like I said earlier. Great stadium, great atmosphere. Great coach. I mean, Baylor's at that point of being kind of a national power, kind of like Oklahoma State. They're on that same trajectory.
Yep. Lock bets. The Golden Bears. Is it Golden Bears? No, it's just Baylor Bears, right? Golden Bears is Cal. Yeah. So
Golden Bears Cal, right?
That's correct. Yeah. So it's Baylor. What are your thoughts?
I think Baylor could be 8-0 going into Oklahoma. I hate to say it, but I mean, got Albany, BYU, Texas State, Iowa State's going to be tough. But I mean, if you can get through Iowa State and Oklahoma State, then you got West Virginia, Kansas, Texas Tech, and you don't play Oklahoma until November 5th, like Gunn said. I mean, I think you're looking at an 8-0 team. Worst case, maybe 6-2. Losing Oklahoma State and Iowa State, but I think either way, you're looking at a 10-win team. I think.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's concerning. I think it's concerning some of the people they lost, but I'm with Pun here. I think something is in the water down there. All right.
Yeah, they have an attitude. They have a swagger.
I like that coach too, man. I think coaching wins championships. I think coaching wins conferences. I think coaching wins big games. So I think the defensive front's pretty solid. You got some great linebackers coming back.
Well, and they got the transfer. They got the transfer from Tulsa. They got the transfer from Tulsa Guns. I'm sure you have in your notes. Player, he's a kind of a nose guard, defensive tackle, really, really underrated player that is transferring to Baylor, and obviously he'll be ready to play this season.
That's what I was just looking at.
So they're. I wouldn't say they're loaded or stacked, but they're going to be good.
And they usually have great jerseys, great helmets, good good product to watch.
Totally.
I think Baylor could be 8-0 going into that showdown that Guns picks just
definitely.
So I don't know. I'm a little bit feeling different about Baylor. Just looking at how this team is built from last year. I mean, granted, I think they have a decent, probably an upgrade from Bohannon at quarterback. This kid, I can't think of his name now, but
Chapin.
Yes, that's who it is. So he's going in there. I think that's going to be somewhat of an upgrade. Well, I guess only time will tell, see if he jives with the offense. But it's really a full rebuild of the offensive weapons. They lost their top 2 running backs, and their top 3 receivers are actually gone. So from an offensive perspective, as far as the weapons are concerned, I don't know if they're going to be able to fill in those positions with who they have currently on the roster. Top 10 offensive line this year, I think. And you just brought up a great point that was in my notes. They lost 2 of their starters from last year, and they're getting 3 back, but they filled in with 2 transfers. The one that you just mentioned for Tulsa.
That's what it was.
Yeah. So they're going to be from the offensive line for that kid, coming in and, getting enough snaps and experience, he's going to have protection. And, from a running back perspective, I think they're going to be able to run the ball too. No different than what they did last year. But they have a lot of tough road tests this year. BYU, West Virginia, Oklahoma, and Texas, all on the road this year. And BYU is a ranked team in preseason, so don't sleep on them. And it's a tough place to go to that to Utah and go and try to beat up the Mormons.
They really produce.
West Virginia is a tough place to play too.
Virginia
is a tough place.
Yeah,
and so is Texas Tech. Yeah, and that's a tough road game. So
Texas Tech is kind of going through some stuff though.
I don't think they're being very good, but they can get it. They'll get up for Baylor because they consider that a rivalry game.
Yeah, Mike Leach isn't there anymore, so I'm not really concerned about Texas Tech. But that's what I mean. It's like I think Baylor is going to have a little bit of a drop off this year. I don't think they're going to be. Honestly, I don't even think they're going to even get close to even getting to the Big 12 championship.
I just hope you're right. I love you guys. You guys are walking right into my.
So 2 things. I'm looking up this Blake Shapen character.
Yes.
First off, he looks a little eerily similar to too many of those like TikTokers. I'm just gonna throw that out there. He kind of looks like that Tate Martell. I don't want to throw that.
Oh no! Don't put that on him. I may be switching my tune, man. But they came back with a great stat here. His uncle, Hal Sutton, first uncle.
No shit, the golfer
wins on the PGA Tour.
Yeah.
So the guy's a winner. He's a grinder. He's got it in his blood. 15 wins. That's got to be incorrect. I mean, 15 wins.
Like I said, I think they have an upgrade at quarterback. The weapons are depleted. We'll see how the season goes. I think we'll talk about. I mean, I'm going to have something to say at the end with Baylor, anyways. But game to watch. What do you think, Pun?
Baylor's game to watch is got to be at Oklahoma. That's where their season. That's the game I think they are circling because Oklahoma's the team to beat every year, and everybody should be circling that game. I don't think I wish it was at Baylor, but it's not. But man, they have no chance probably to win. But that's their barometer of success. To me, is that OU game.
Lockbets, what do you think? Game to watch.
I took Pun's notes. I circled it down in my notebook. All right. I circled it in my composition. I'm going to one-up it. I agree with Guns here. I think Morgantown, West Virginia. I think I may have spoken too quickly. I said 8-0 going into Oklahoma. Not so fast. See the tailgate behind me? This tailgate is going to be times 10. All right? I've been to Morgantown, West Virginia. I lost a few years of my life. Okay?
Breathing in those couch burning fumes.
Oh, yeah. And if this Blake Shapen character is going to walk into Morgantown and stampede them, all right, stomp them, then I think they're the real deal. But I think it's going to be a big test. Never an easy game there. So I'm circling that one. So back-to-back games. Listen, Blake, if you're listening to this, I know you are. You better be in your composition notebook circling those games, because West Virginia is a typical sleep game, right? You sleep on them. You see a look-ahead game. All right, you're looking ahead.
Probably an 11 a.m. start. Nasty weather.
Oh, yeah.
A drizzle.
That game's gonna be in the second half before we all wake up from our hangover.
Yes.
How did this game start?
Yeah.
Oh, the sun. Oh. I thought I was still at the bar. Last call. We got Blake Shapen with 3 INTs
driving down the field.
You got that mustard from the grease burger you ate off the truck outside the bar. Oh,
well, nowadays you got DoorDash, delivering 24 hours a day. I mean, don't get me into my DoorDash rants. All right.
All right. So my game to watch on this one, I'm looking at road game central for Baylor. They got to play Texas at the end of the year, last game of the season. Baylor 6-0 against the spread road finales, and the under is hit 9 straight for if you want a little bit of a trend. Baylor beat Texas last year as a 2-point favorite, but could be a meaningful game potentially for either team or both, as it is the last game of the season. So I like this as the game to watch for Baylor because I already talked about them in Oklahoma. So that's the next one.
Yeah.
Oh, speaking of Oklahoma, let's talk Oklahoma State. The man to my right, diehard fan of Oklahoma State, and I'm still reeling in the loss in the bowl game last year. But hey, you know what? A lot of guys decided to sit out for Notre Dame, so I'm just saying we weren't 100%. Oklahoma State, Pun. What do you think?
So. Interesting season for Oklahoma State. Coming off and obviously a great season last year, Big 12 championship appearance. One play away from winning that. A nice Fiesta Bowl win over Notre Dame. Fifth-year starter coming back at quarterback, or fifth-year senior, I think, coming back as quarterback Sanders. Replacing a new starting running back. Offensive line is okay. Defensive line is going to be great. Linebackers and secondary is going to be okay. Defensive coordinator is gone to Ohio State, which is a huge loss. As you Hard Knocks folks, have you watched? Obviously, you watched Rodrigo and what he's doing at the Lions. You could tell how well he's coached by the kind of plays he's making at that camp. So Derek Mason is in, former Vanderbilt coach, head coach, former Auburn, I think, defensive coordinator. Is that right, Guns?
Yep.
Is that right? Okay. So they're getting, and they have Tim Rattay as their kind of quarterbacks coach. So they've got a pretty good, underrated coaching staff, in my opinion. Do you remember Tim Rattay, the quarterback?
Yeah, I do.
Tim Rattay?
Yeah.
Wait, I'm thinking of Ken Dorsey. It was Ken Dorsey
Didn't Tim Rattay play for the Niners?
Yeah, Tim Rattay played for
like a third backup or something.
Yeah, he played for a bunch of teams.
Didn't Tim Rattay play for Ohio State?
I don't know who he played for. That's
in the 2000 national championship. It was Ken Dorsey versus Tim Rattay.
Let's look up Tim Rattay. Yep. Tim Rattay went to Louisiana Tech.
I know Ken Dorsey was in the national championship, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. With Miami, early 2000s.
Maybe
okay.
I'm making things
So,
up, right? But yeah, that's a great hire.
A long way to get there, but I think Oklahoma State is probably a 9-win team this season. They have tough road games at Baylor early. So October 1st at Baylor is going to be difficult. They host Texas. They go to Oklahoma. That's really their tough games. They have a lot of home games. They have three non-conference home games, which is good. If you're looking at their team total, that they should win all of those. But man, I think they're going to be good. The problem with this team is if Sanders gets hurt, they're fucked. They're screwed. They have no depth behind Sanders. Their backup went to Nevada. He's starting at Nevada this year. He transferred. So they're kind of in limbo. They haven't really named a backup. Gunnar Gundy, Mike Gundy's son, is probably the third stringer, possible backup.
It's a great quarterback.
Yeah, really good. Yeah. But no, dude, I think they're going to be good. They're going to be. I can never count them out now. They're kind of one of those teams that wins 9 or 10 games every year quietly. Like over the last 10 years, they're top 10 in wins. Nobody really realizes that, but they're one of the most successful teams the past 10 years. So they're going to win, but I don't think they're a title contender. And if they are a title contender, they're not a playoff contender.
Right.
If that makes sense.
Yep.
Okay.
All right. Lock bets. What do you think of Oklahoma State?
I'm a little bit flabbergasted with them because, they got 16 winning seasons in a row. They had their starting quarterback. Right? They had their starting quarterback back.
Yeah.
They have a good defensive core.
Yep.
So, my case against Oklahoma was, new coach, new starter. Right. That's the recipe for
They
disaster.
have everything the Sooners don't. Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think I'm in with Oklahoma State, man. I think their schedule is tough. I was looking at it. I definitely don't love their schedule. Am I on a little bit of delay or am I doing it right?
You're doing
good. Slight delay, but we can hear you on time. So you're good.
The camera here.
So Oklahoma State, real quick, while he does that, they have all the Texas teams in a row. They have Baylor, Tech, TCU, Texas.
Yep.
All in a row. So they're done with Texas early, which is good. The back end of their schedule sets up well with Kansas State, Kansas, Iowa State. And then they play Oklahoma, obviously, and then end versus West Virginia. They're a 9 or 10 win team.
Yeah.
If everything goes right. But the problem is if Sanders gets hurt, they go from 9 wins to 6. So that's where I think the uneasiness comes from.
Yeah.
I think you're right in thinking that they're set up well, but they lost a lot of guys to the draft for them.
Yep.
I think if they had Baylor's schedule, I'd be saying the same thing as them. As I just said about Baylor, I think they'd be 8-0 going into a big game. But they have a tough schedule. But I think they're going to be the steady Eddie team in this conference, and I think they have a lot of upside. So I'm kind of going to be the middle ground here. I don't see anything wrong with them, so it would not shock me if they win the conference.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't hate that pick at all. I don't. My take on it is basically 7 returning starters on the offensive side. Spencer Sanders and four starters off the offensive line. Big strength for him. But here's where the weakness lies is their weapons. They lost a ton of weapons. Jalen Warren, gone. Their top receiver last year, Tay Martin, he's gone. Big shoes to fill for the weapon side. Similar. Similar to Baylor, really. They're really set up almost identical, and it's kind of shocking that those guys. I mean, not shocking that those guys were in the championship last year. Defensive line is going to actually be a strength for them. I mean, they're bringing back all but one starter from last year, and they only allowed 2.7 yards per carry last season, and the guy that they're replacing with is like a highly touted, freshman that I think he'll slip into the role just fine, and that line's going to not lose a step from what it did last year.
Yeah, he's like a Vanderbilt transfer, I think.
Yeah, he's solid. I mean, everything I've read about him, everyone's real positive about him, but it doesn't matter because that line is pretty much intact from last year.
Right.
So, talk about losing their top running back, top wide receiver. They get the quarterback back. They get most of the offensive line back, and the defensive line is just fine. I don't see much of a drop-off, but like you said, you made a great point about Spencer Sanders. They lose Sanders, it's donezo. The season rides on him.
Yep, and he runs, and they're going to ask him to run a lot.
Yep.
Some things real quick, and we'll move on. Trace Ford will be back. He's an edge rusher, guy to watch. Colin Oliver is a sophomore. He kind of lit the world on fire last year. He's like the Big 12 Freshman of the Year. And then look out for Braylon Presley, who is Brennan Presley's little brother. Local kid, like Tyreek speed.
Yeah.
So if you remember him at Oklahoma State a little bit, and then obviously with the Dolphins now. So those are the guys to watch. They got to play big, but you guys are spot on with your assessment. I like it.
Yeah. So what do you think? The game to watch? This is a great one. I love the one.
I want you guys to go first. I want you guys to go first on this one.
All right. I want to go first.
I want to hear what you guys think.
Okay. Game to watch. And take it for what it's worth. I'm wearing the jersey. This is the game to watch. They're going to be playing West Virginia at the end of the season. Really weird. And maybe I'll ask you, Pun. Do they play Bedlam usually it's the last game of the season, right?
They used to until the team they put Bedlam at the last game of the year in the years they don't think Oklahoma, they don't want them to play back to back.
Yeah.
That's why.
So with that being said, they're going to play Bedlam the week before. They have to go play West Virginia. So I'm just kind of marking it on the calendar, and I'll put a little note beside it. The outcome of Bedlam. If they lose, you may want to take Oklahoma State the next week. But if they win, again, going into that game, high of highs, smelling the roses, they beat West Virginia 24-3 last year. I mean, the Cowboys have won 7 straight up and against the spread versus West Virginia.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, the outcome of that game is going to decide how you bet the next game on the 26th of November. Mark it on your calendars. This is going to be a big play, maybe be a big play for me at that time of the season. So I'm marking that on the calendars. I'm looking ahead, but that's the game. West Virginia, and I think it's at home.
Locke, what do you think?
I actually love that point, Guns. I think it's a phenomenal point because I could totally see Oklahoma State being 6.5-point dogs versus Oklahoma, or maybe 5.5, right? I don't know what it would be. What do you think?
Yeah, whatever. Yeah. Maybe 3.
Area.
Yeah.
They win outright. All of a sudden, the public shoots to the betting window for Oklahoma State. The line jumps to 18.5 Oklahoma State. And then West Virginia wins outright. It hurt me, though, listening to that. Because I know that would pain Pun.
Oh my God, that would be like Iowa State all over again when they lost that game at the end of the season and kept them out of the national championship.
But we see it all the time in college football.
Oh yeah,
it's such an emotional game.
The roller coaster for those kids is
right. They have a practice where they just fool around because they got lowly, probably 6-win. Who knows? West Virginia team.
Win and you're in.
Yeah, we're already thinking about the Big 12 championship. I'm already ahead. Yeah. My brain's not even.
Yeah, we're game planning for Oklahoma again. Yeah, we got to beat them again, or we got to beat.
All right, boys. My game to watch. My game to watch is at Baylor, October 1st. First Big 12 conference game, revenge game from the conference championship. Obviously, a loss.
A tough loss.
Could be most likely will be 2 top 10 teams. Marquee game day style game. Oklahoma State will be on a bye the week before that after playing Pine Bluff. So they'll be rested, should have everybody geared up, ready to go. So that's a strength for that game. But that bye week, having your bye week in September sets you up badly for a conference season. I mean, you get a bye week September 24th, and you're playing until November 26th. That's an absolute grind. That's an absolute killer. So that is a bad break,
right?
A big time bad break. But it sets up well for that individual game.
Yep.
Oklahoma State at Baylor will be an awesome game. Probably Baylor minus 3 or 4, 3.5. I bet. That's the game to watch because the winner of that game probably makes the Big 12 championship.
Yeah. No, I agree. Perfect. Man, we just picked some great games. Woo.
And that's the cool thing about this. That's the cool thing about this conference is you could pick 3 different games. Every team plays each other. And they're all good teams. And none of them are Alabama or Georgia or Ohio State or Michigan, but they're all, I mean, obviously Oklahoma is, but
right.
That's the Big 12. It's solid. Everybody's pretty solid other than Kansas.
All right, let's go to the next team on the board.
Wait, did I pick my game?
Oh, did you?
Yeah, you said West Virginia, I thought.
Yeah, no. Did you? Okay, go ahead. Sorry. Go pick your game. Sorry. I thought you picked your game.
We got all hyped up. I'm sorry, Lon.
I did West Virginia. No. Guns did West Virginia.
I did West Virginia, yes.
What's your game?
I think their game is going to be the Kansas State game. October 29th, Halloween weekend.
Yeah.
October is an absolute bitch for this team. Holy cow. Baylor,
I know, look at that schedule.
It's a grind.
I mean,
no bye weeks in there.
Yeah, and no bye weeks. They're just back to back to back. Bam, bam, bam.
And they're on the road twice. I mean, there's nothing easy about October. This is why I think Oklahoma State is not set up for this year. I think their team is, but this schedule stinks.
Right. That's what keeps me off their total. Yeah. It's a tough schedule.
I think Kansas State, I think they could go another like letdown. I mean, they're going to go, maybe, let's say that they go 3-0 in October, and then they play Kansas State and, they underperform. Or on the other side, if they get through October and they go 4-0, this is the best team in the conference, and they're going to be a top 5, top 10 team maybe.
Yep.
So who do they got after Kansas State? Who do they got after Kansas State?
They have Kansas at Kansas, Iowa State at home, at OU, West Virginia at home. Okay. So their last 4 games, they should be 3-1. Those 5 games in October are going to be the telling point.
Yeah, I agree. All right, let's get into the next team. And hey, I keep hearing it around the media. I've heard it around the water cooler. I don't know if you even have a water cooler, but I like to pretend I'm near a water cooler when I'm hearing it. But everyone's saying 3 words: Texas is back. And I hear it in a sentence. I hear it with an exclamation point, and I also hear it with a question mark. So, pun picks. The Texas Longhorns, what are you seeing with them?
They were the hardest team for me to break down in this exercise that we did before we got on the call or on the podcast. Because I don't know about Ewers. I know he's highly touted, but a new conference, new coach, new team, a lot of hype. That's a lot of pressure on a young guy. Mm-hmm. With a team that is going to get their asses beat by Alabama, and you just don't know what happens after that game.
Right.
What happens to that team? Are they in the dumps? Do they play them close and that it's a springboard? Do they get their asses kicked? Do they get hurt? Texas is the biggest wild card in the country every year, and they've been a trash team for
since
a while. I know they beat Alabama in Ellinger's like junior season, I believe, but Alabama was similar. It's kind of similar to Oklahoma State beating Notre Dame. I know Notre Dame had a lot of guys out, but there was a lot of flux. Alabama was obviously not playing for the national title, so they probably didn't care a whole lot. So it's kind of a revenge spot for Alabama going back to that Sugar Bowl loss. I think Texas is an 8-4 team. Now, which four games are they going to lose? I don't know.
Right.
They could lose to Kansas again, for all I know. I don't. That's the thing.
Right. Mm-hmm. No, I'm with you. Lock bets. What do you think, Texas?
I'm with Pun Picks here. I mean, excuse me. Where do we start? Where do we start? I just think they have a lot of problems, man. I don't know why they do, but they have a lot of problems. And unfortunately, their head coach has a lot of problems. They can't get away from this, problematic culture. I mean, I would love to say that Steve Sarkisian comes with a culture of championships and winning. I know he spent 2 days in Alabama.
Like one championship, right?
But even then he was like I don't know.
The thing that Texas is going to be able to do is they're going to be able to run the ball. Bijan Robinson's the best running back in the country.
Oh yeah,
they have that.
Sure.
So it's going to be about their defense, and if they can contain people from scoring. They couldn't stop anybody last year. I don't know if that changes overnight. I think next year is probably Texas's year to be back, not this year.
Right.
I do think though this year is I mean, after talking with you guys, I think this year it's for the taking. Like there's a team that can take this conference. I don't think there's a clear cut.
No.
Cookie cutter answer that someone's gonna roll. So like if I'm Steve Sarkisian, I'm telling him like, guys, this is your year. It's in your control.
That's all you can do, right?
Yeah. I mean, like it's not like you're competing against Alabama or Georgia or
correct.
Oklahoma's a Baker Mayfield.
There's no clear cut favorite. You're exactly right.
Exactly.
So I think Texas. I mean, I would put them right next to Oklahoma State. I think both of them are probably my favorites so far. But like I said, I don't like chaos, and I think Texas has too much chaos. They always do. They're fucking alumni. They're boosters. Their coaching staffs. I just think it's chaotic and dramatic, and they love the dramatics. And something dramatic's going to happen this year. I mean, you had Sam Ellinger for like 5.5 years, and he didn't do much.
Literally,
he won the Sugar Bowl or that whatever, the Cotton Bowl or something like that. Said Texas is back, and then the next year they fall flat on their ass.
Oh,
my take on Texas, really, Quinn Ewers is listen, the way the highly touted, highly ranked guy, no one's been ranked this high since Trevor Lawrence. So there's got to be a little bit of very high expectations on the performance of this kid. It just hasn't shown on the field because he's never had the opportunity. Right. So I'm not gonna go out and say he's gonna suck right off the bat because he's surrounded by a tremendous amount of weapons. Bijan Robinson's coming back, Xavier Worthy's coming back, their top receiver from last year. So if he can go in there and develop and run that offense and not even skip a beat, I mean, it could be an upgrade from Casey Thompson for sure.
It's a big time upgrade from Thompson.
Yeah. But I mean, Thompson's not a bad quarterback. He just got to get into the right system.
He was over his skis big time. Where did he go?
He went to
Nebraska.
Yes, that's it. And I think that's a good landing spot for him.
I think he's a very overrated. His dad was an OU quarterback. By the way.
So 15th toughest schedule in the country. They have to play Alabama, like you mentioned. They got to play at Oklahoma State, at Kansas State, and Baylor at the end of the year. So they got a gauntlet to go through before they, really show if they're back as a powerhouse. And their number one weakness, and Lock Bets hit it on the stage, is Sarkisian. The factor of Sarkisian. I circled it. I highlighted it. I made sure I had to make that point. He has a great team on paper, but he had a great team on paper last year, and they only won 5 games. So he just hasn't got a good track record as a head coach. I think he had a little bit of success in Washington, went to USC, fell flat, just completely just disheveled as a human being, has to go to rehab, which is Alabama. That's where Coach Rehab is. And he just hasn't, I haven't seen it. I haven't seen him be successful. And if he can't be successful with the weapons that he has now, then he's not going to be successful anywhere. I just don't see it.
One quick thing to remember about Texas is Gary Patterson is their defensive coordinator this year. So you should see a significant improvement with their preparation.
That's a great point. That's
Gary Patterson, like the Gary Patterson.
Former TCU head coach.
Yeah,
obviously not.
I
there
thought he
anymore.
retired and he was just done.
Well, he did for a season. I think he was in the booth for a little while, and then now.
He was there last season, right? He was there last season.
Did he get fired mid-season?
Yeah, there's some firing at the end of the season.
I can't remember the timeline.
I thought he was asked to leave, and he was like, "Yeah, you know what? I'm
pretty much." Yeah, it wasn't really a firing. It was more like, we're
a football
take your bow.
You can't stay away.
Yeah. So that's a huge.
They're getting paid not to coach.
That's a huge plus. That's a huge plus. And one more quick negative for Texas is Ewers has Arch Manning on his coattail already.
Yeah.
So
look ahead.
You got to think about that, right? Yeah. He's got Arch Manning in high school already vying for his job. So how does that affect him mentally?
I mean, how did it affect CJ Stroud with Ewers on his breathing down his neck? It depends. I don't know how the kid handles it. Everybody's different. I mean, you either step up your game or
he did not beat out Stroud. We know that. So
it's not his fault though. I mean, Stroud was, top 3 quarterback in the country.
How many quarterbacks transfer and do well? Top notch. JT Daniels, obviously he's transferred to West Virginia. We'll talk about him in a minute.
Oh yeah,
but like top notch, blue chip.
Russell Wilson transferring from NC State to Wisconsin, getting to the Rose Bowl.
But he wasn't a blue chip. He's not.
Spencer Rattler's a blue chip though.
Yeah, but
you're going to see it. I think
we don't know how he's done yet.
The problem is you didn't see it a lot in the past, and you're seeing it a lot now. Is because of the easiness to just go and transfer and not sit out a year is. But we haven't really seen it come to fruition yet. If there's any year it's going to happen, it's this year because there's so many QB changes. Tons.
Oh, no. This is bad. This is bad.
What happened?
We have a comment, guys.
Okay.
We have a comment, and it's from
Go ahead.
Stan McMahon 6.
All right, Stan.
And his picture looks like a Wii character. And he says, "Let's see a chug."
Let's see a chug.
I didn't bring any. I didn't have any booze.
Is anybody drinking right now? Are you drinking?
I'm not. No.
I just got off the course. I'm a little buzzed up.
Yeah.
So you're just letting me drink out of my little.
I didn't
chug that. Reusable straw.
Let me get a refill. I'm out. So Stan McMahon, hold on. Hold your horses. I'm gonna get a drink. I'm gonna stay in the tailgate. All right.
We're gonna go game. Let's go to game to watch for Texas until Locke gets back. What do you think?
For me, if you want me to go real quick, it's the Red River rivalry. If I'm allowed to say that without getting trademarked.
It's you can't say Red River shootout. You can say rivalry.
Right. So I say the rivalry.
Yeah.
Down at the Cotton Bowl, October 8th. It'll be an 11 a.m. start as usual. It says TBD, but it's always an early game.
Oh yeah.
Because everybody gets too drunk and
they have to. If they make that a night game, it's
also the part of Dallas. Also, the part of Dallas that's in, you do not want to be there after dark.
Yeah,
that's the other.
Oh yeah. I know. Right.
So, that's the game to watch because Texas will most likely be 5-1 headed into that game. 1, 2, 3, 4-1 headed in that game with an Alabama loss.
Yep.
They win that game. That's fucking huge for them.
I picked the same game. I said this is the game. Texas will need to show that if they're going to show that they are quote unquote back.
Yeah,
they're going to have to go and beat Oklahoma. And the way that they lost last year, they were just trouncing the Sooners. They switched the Rattler to Williams. All of a sudden, all hell breaks loose, and they can't make a stop. And Oklahoma just takes over the game. I mean, crazy comeback in this one. And I hope
I see
that it's disappearing. Cheetos. There we go.
I said, hey, in Austin, filtered and grained and distilled in Austin, Texas, Mr. Tito's.
Right. Sorry, continue, John.
So if Texas is back, like I said, if Sarkisian if he can't pump him up for the Red River rivalry, then he doesn't deserve to be the coach there next year. But I picked the same game, Red River rivalry. That's going to be.
What about you, Locke?
All right, hold up, hold your horses. So you guys both said Red River rivalry?
Yes.
After, we all had our reasoning, different reasoning.
Sorry, I'm a little rattled now.
What's your mix there? Vodka? What is the?
Iced tea. It's actually a diet iced tea variation, but it's delicious.
Sounds refreshing.
Just doing doubles. So
Who's
this
counting?
is for Stan McMahon. All right. I'm going to do the chug via straw. So now you see it, right? Everyone see it?
I see it. 3, go.
For the listeners out there, he is going very deep with that straw. Uncomfortably.
Oh,
deep.
boy.
Uncomfortably. Oh, my God. It's gone.
Yeah,
It's
that
gone.
thing is gone. Oh, yeah.
That is a double iced tea.
It's a
vodka
double.
down the hatch with a dab at the end. All right. Who's our next team?
All right. Now what we got? Locke, you got a game to watch? Or are we just going to go on to the next
We got a chug to watch. We'll go.
You know what? I'm staying with my guns here. I think that team is too chaotic for me to even comment on.
Okay.
I think it's going to be mayhem. I think it's going to be
Fair
the best
enough.
of times, be the worst of times. I think they're going to win a few games, they're going to lose a few games. What do you want?
All right.
Correct.
So let's just jump to a team that you want to talk about, and that is the Kansas State Wildcats. This team is very interesting, a real interesting team, and I'm going to be high on them. I don't know about you. What do you think, Pon?
I'm not very high on them. I'm not. I think they're a 7-5 team.
Okay.
4-5 in the Big 12. Tough schedule. I'm not sold on their quarterback. They're going to do a lot of running. They're going to do a lot of misdirection with Deuce Vaughn. Probably a lot of quarterback powers. Option. They have a tough schedule, a really, really tough schedule. They go to Oklahoma. They host Oklahoma State. They go to Baylor, play Missouri in the non-conference, play a always pesky Tulane team. They're average. They're going to be an average team. I'm never too sold on Kansas State. I know they're a trendy team to pick because I don't know why. I really don't know why. They don't have a ton of athletes on the outside. That's my opinion on Kansas State, just watching them for my entire life. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Locke. Kansas State.
Listen, I think it's the same exact sentiment I was just doing before. This conference this year, it's for the taking. All right. So if you have a gritty, hungry, ironclad team, they can beat anybody. I don't think any team in this conference this year is unbeatable. Flat out. So do I think Kansas is going to be an 8-win team or Kansas State? No. Do I think they're going to be a 7-win team? Maybe not. But do I think they're going to beat 1, maybe 2 top 25 teams this year? Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think where a lot of teams lack in their defense, we've mentioned it time and time again. Oh, the defense has lost a bunch of starters, yada, yada, yada. Kansas State's got, I think, the best running back pound for pound and inch for inch in this conference, or at least top 2 or top 3.
Darren Sproles 2.0.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So do I think Kansas State can upset somebody in this conference? Absolutely. So I think just keep them on high alert. I really do think Oklahoma is going to get into that into a buzzsaw. They're going to walk directly into it. I'm still predicting it. I think Kansas State shocks the fucking world and gives Oklahoma a hard time. But I'm with you, Pun. I think they're still a shitty team, right? I think they're at the end of the day, they're not going to go to the college football playoff. So
yeah, they're average. They could be above average, but I think they're average. They got a great coach. What do you think, Guns? You've done a lot of research.
I'm thinking the same thing you guys are, and basically they've swapped the quarterbacks and they got Adrian Martinez. Now, if you don't know who Adrian Martinez is, Nebraska, I swear he's been there for 10 years. I don't know how he still has eligibility left, but he does. And he's going to be the quarterback. Now, for some reason in my head, when I'm looking at this kid, I think this is the perfect landing spot for him, the way that he plays. Yeah. He's not a good thrower. He's critical with making mistakes, and he just didn't fit the Scott Frost style of quarterback that he's used to. This is a little bit different because I think you got a 1-2 punch now in the running game with Martinez and Deuce Vaughn. I think this is good. They're going to kind of maneuver the offense around those two, and then the passing game is just going to be like an accent to keep the defense honest. I see this team beat her. Deuce Vaughn had 1,468 yards last year, 18 touchdowns, and 6 yards per carry. This guy was a monster, and they're bringing back their top 3 receivers, which I feel bad for them because their numbers are going to go down when Adrian Martinez. If you're looking for the ball, you might want to go transfer. But like you guys already iterated, I think that every time they're playing, you need to look at that line, and they're going to compete with pretty much everybody in that conference at some point. I think they're going to catch some teams in bad spots, maybe at home, and you're going to be looking at Kansas State to put them on your card. I think they're going to be they may be a monster at covering this year because I think in a lot of cases they're going to be a dog. And they could win anywhere between, my opinion, 5, 6 to 8 games, maybe.
Yep.
Yeah, why not?
Maybe. So, I think their win total is 6.5. So keep that in mind.
Pun. Every capper, every better probably out there has a team that you kind of go back to the well with. Pun. Correct me if I'm wrong. Guns loves taking Kansas State and the points. And let me tell you, his record last year had to be above that green, all right?
Especially early in the season.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Like I said, I don't know why it is. It's just stuck. It's just always my go-to for years. This team.
Well, I think they're undervalued and they get a lot of points. I think who did they start out with last year? They had an SEC team on the road. They almost beat, I think.
We had Oklahoma
week 1
on the reins, remember?
But they played somebody else before. They played Stanford. 2 years ago. Didn't they play Stanford?
They beat Stanford.
They crushed them, though.
Maybe it was 2 years ago. I was thinking of that.
Last year, I thought they played a neutral site game against them, and
I'm looking at their schedule. They didn't. We're thinking of somebody else. They played LSU in the bowl game. Maybe that's
but that's LSU is playing with
nobody.
The parents,
right?
Of the kids that left.
Right.
Sorry. Game to watch. Pun.
Game to watch for Kansas State. To me, it's Missouri. I like these old Big 12 matchups again. Missouri went to the SEC, has not had success lately, had success early, traveling to Manhattan to play the Kansas State Wildcats. Big game for Kansas State. They have to win. That's a huge game for Kansas State. The Big 12 always sees the SEC as their big brother. So they want to win all those games. Yeah. So it's a must win for them. If they win that game, I think they hit their team total over.
Great. All right. Game to watch. Lock bets.
Like I said, I think they're gonna lose to some bad teams. I think they're gonna beat some good teams. So I'm not totally on board with Missouri's the season because I think they can go 0-3, hop into Oklahoma.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, they could beat them, but no, I think the game to watch here is I think at TCU, Battle of the Purples, Horned Frogs. I think TCU is probably
last year.
Yeah, it was a hell of a game last year.
Yeah. I think they play them tough, and I think that'll be the one to watch. Realistically, I mean, yeah, they have a tough schedule, and Pun said it. I mean, they're not the best team in the world. So I think I'm definitely gonna watch the TCU Kansas State game, if not the Oklahoma one. Once Oklahoma's up 41-0 at the end of the first half, I'm on to TCU.
You just basically talked about the game that I have to watch. That's Oklahoma on the 24th.
Let's go, baby.
At Oklahoma. You say if they're going to be up 41-0, well, it hasn't happened in 4 out of the last 5 meetings because the game was decided by 7 points or less. One is looking to improve. One is on the rebuild. It could, a lot of changes going on with the Oklahoma side, not so much on the Kansas State side, business as usual. You can catch them sleeping, and it's early in the season. And, losing early in the season doesn't hurt your chances to make college football playoffs. So that could be a game that they could be caught snoozing. And it's usually a close game based on the historical, at least the last 5 years. So
that's a good point.
I think that, you know what? I think you may have talked me into taking Kansas State money line on the 24th.
We have a collaboration play.
You may have just done
collaborative effort. Guys, it's August 18th. It's August 18th. Check your offshore books. Check your DraftKings right now.
I'm making notes. I got notes. And I'm going to be like, well, let's check this better be a good plus.
Guys,
a hot +7 would be sweet. All right. Now we're going into the bottoms of the barrel, maybe. Pretty much. I mean, we might have one good team to talk about, but I want to jump into Iowa State. A lot of changes with this team. So, I mean, what are we looking at for Iowa State?
So Iowa State is a team that massively underachieved last season.
Oh, yeah.
Their dream season was in, I guess, 2020 or 2021. I don't know what.
2020. It was the COVID year.
Yeah, it was the COVID year where they made it to the Big 12 championship.
They won a major bowl against Oregon.
Yep. Won a New Year's Six bowl. Brock Purdy and company, Breece Hall, they're all gone.
Mm-hmm.
Transfer quarterback coming in, who they have high hopes for. Matt Campbell is very highly regarded. I think he's a little overrated. I think he's kind of like PJ Fleck in that way.
Yeah.
I think people want him to be good, but he's just not there yet.
Hey, Minnesota did win 10 games last year.
Yeah, well. Versus who?
It doesn't. I mean, who else would do that with Minnesota? It's Minnesota. They even have Ibrahim.
Row the boat.
Row the damn boat. Row it.
Don't
but that being said, Iowa State's a tough place to recruit to. It's a tough place to coach. It's a tough everything working against you. I think I see Iowa State being similar to Kansas State this season, as far as talent and record.
Yep,
that's my take on Iowa State.
All right, lock bets. What do you think of the Cyclones?
I know they have a returning defensive lineman that's probably the best in the nation.
Yeah.
What's his name again?
Do they still have Kohler?
They're depleted. They only got 3 starters coming back on the defensive side.
I was reading an article earlier, and it was the top players in the Big 12, and Iowa State had like number 3 or 4. I think it was a defensive end, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's neither here nor there. I do not put them in the same category as Kansas State just because I don't think that they can beat like a top blue chip team. But I think they're listen, I think West Virginia, I think even teams like Texas should be on high alert. I don't know. I think Breece Hall's gone, Brock Purdy's gone.
They're like Kansas State. They're very similar. They're going to be hard nosed.
Yeah.
I think tough place to play.
The same thing. Like it's a Saturday morning at 11:30 a.m. and like all of a sudden you wake up from your snooze and Iowa State's on your television. So you probably need some help here. So Guns, do you have any insight to help us on our Saturday hangovers when Iowa State?
I think let's Pun hit most of the points here. I mean, the heartbeat of that team was Brock Purdy and Breece Hall. They were the ones that ran that offense so well for years. And now you got Matt Campbell really going to have to do his best coaching magician tricks to pull this team together. He's done a great job there. I mean, Iowa State was what Kansas is now. I mean, and he beefed him up and made him a contender. And granted, he did it on the backs of Purdy and Hall. I just don't know if they can replace that much offensive production with this team with only, 5 offensive starters back. I think that their top receiver is back as well. And their defense was so strong for years. He's got 3 defensive guys back, and the fill-ins are just inexperienced together.
Will McDonald. Top one of the top pass rushers in the nation.
Yeah.
But keep going.
So there is strengths here and there, but I think there's just a lot to replace. This team is probably just on the skid right now. This is a rebuilding year. I don't see this team winning, maybe more than 4 or 5 games this year at most. They got a tough schedule. This is one of the teams I think there's going to be a huge drop on Iowa State. And you saw that happening last year with the team. So, yeah, I'm not high on the Cyclones at all.
And Hunter Deckers is their quarterback. He's a sophomore. Not a transfer. I was thinking of somebody else. No experience. He's a garbage time. That's all he's had. He's a big guy. 6'3", 235.
Is he a TikTok
pocket? He's a pocket guy. Big face, which does help him a little bit.
Big face.
Does he have a TikTok haircut?
There's theories on big face.
No, he looks a lot like Big Ben, honestly.
Oh. All right, let's do game to watch. I know it's Iowa State. It was really hard for me to pick one, so I kind of played the gambling brain of mine for college football for my pick. I'll tell you, it's Baylor. They lost 29-31 as 7-point favorites last year, and then that was kind of the kickoff game for them. That's where you saw the changing of the guard. You saw Iowa State getting basically taking their crown and going, here, Baylor, it's your turn. And then Baylor just kind of took it from there. I agree, and Oklahoma State's in that mix too. But, I think that game kind of was a launching pad for Baylor. So if there's any game that Iowa State and Matt Campbell will probably be excited for is that game. Because they played a great game, but Baylor was just Baylor last year. But, yeah, that's the game to watch, I think. That game, revenge spot.
I think it's Iowa State, Iowa.
I thought about taking that one too. That was my number 2.
They just can't beat them. And how many years have they lost? It seems like they lose. Last year was their chance to win.
Was their shot? Yeah,
and they blew it. I think they might have beat them in 2020. The COVID. They probably didn't play the COVID year. No, they lost the COVID year too. 18-17. So they had back-to-back home games and lost. So it's a big game for them. It's a new quarterback. They should be similar to Iowa as far as skill.
Yeah.
That's my game to watch for Iowa State.
I like that one. I'm sorry, lock bets. You gotta play.
Yes, sir. Just doing a quick little research mission here on Iowa State, so I can contribute to the boys. Guys, first meeting Iowa State. Guess what year? Price is Right rules. No looking. We're gonna go with Guns picks. First meeting ever: Iowa versus Iowa State.
1964.
Okay. Punt?
1912.
Well, you guys are both wrong. October 1st, 1894.
Oh my God.
That was close. That was close.
Back. I just, I don't know. I just know. To me,
64.
I just never.
94,
I listen.
94.
I just, some of these schools, I just never thought they had a football program until the 60s when college football started popping. I don't know.
Guns is stuck in that with that gold helmet. He does.
That one goes way back. I thought there was only like 4 college teams in the before 1950.
It was
I thought it was Notre Dame, Army, Navy. And that's it.
It was the Ivy League and Rutgers.
Citadel.
for a while.
1894.
So it's a long
And you know what so the all-time series, Pun already looked it up, I believe. So
Nope,
Guns, off the top of your head, what do you think the all-time series between Iowa and Iowa State is?
Can I just pick a percent? Iowa probably has the advantage. I'm going to say percentage-wise 65-35.
I'm going to say 90 wins, 90 to 60.
46 wins for Iowa, 22 for Iowa State.
Okay, so it started early, but they haven't played every year.
Yeah, they start. Wait, so how does that work out? They started in 1894, and they've only met 70 times.
So Guns was right. They haven't played. They haven't played a ton, but they played early.
Okay. Can somebody double check this info? Because I think the vodka's starting it. All right.
I'll fix it in post.
Nonetheless, Pun, you stole my thunder there. I was going to take Iowa State because just how Pun picks loves a Kansas State spread. I love picking Iowa. I love picking Iowa.
Know what I like about that game? I like taking the under.
Oh, yeah. Iowa unders. Oh, my God. A lot of people like watching paint dry. I prefer to watch Iowa football under 41.5.
They're going to be a big time under team this year too.
Yeah.
We broke down the Big 12 last year, and we basically
I'm gonna go on a limb and say my game to watch is Iowa State versus Ohio. I think Ohio upseats Iowa State early in the season. What is that, week 3? Get some action going on a not so casual Saturday, September 17th at 2:00, which could get flexed to,
I feel like they lost. Did they lose to a MAC team last year? They lost to somebody early, like
Iowa,
unexpected. Iowa State, yeah.
Should we talk about Matt Campbell's coaching prospects? 3 years ago, the New York Jets were interviewing him.
He had everybody going at him.
I feel like after this season, he's not going to get anybody knocking on his door.
No, this is going to be this just feels like a bad one for him, unless he's got recruits in his arsenal. But I doubt it.
At least I think they pay him a lot of money, right?
Yeah, I think he's doing okay. I don't think he's one of the highest paid, but I think he's comfortable.
I've seen this story happen before, though.
Money goes a long way in age.
Hot young candidate starts losing, and all of a sudden he's coaching D1AA.
Yeah. Yep.
All right. Next one up. What am I doing?
You want to go Tech?
Horned Frogs.
Ooh.
The Horned Frogs.
TCU. Claws up.
I don't
know why they do this. I guess because
they do this. It's this. The poison comes out.
I did not know that. I just thought
my wife went to TCU, so I'm well versed on the Horned Frogs.
This team's interesting. A lot of experience coming back. Of course, a new coach, but I'll start with you.
Defense, right?
Solid.
But I think TCU's in big fucking trouble. Sorry, but
no. I've made my opinion yet. Go ahead.
Okay, I think they're in big trouble. Other than Tarleton State, they're going to have a hard time winning some games.
Monster.
That's a real team.
STS.
At SMU will be difficult. SMU is pretty good. Sonny Dykes obviously coached there.
Mm-hmm.
It's a big time transition year for TCU. No Patterson. It's hard to lose a coach like that and just pick it up. TCU's going to be struggling this season.
Lockbet, you got an opinion on TCU?
Nope.
I know they have a good defense. I'm a little discouraged now because I just watched the live stream, and we had 1,000 live view watchers about an hour ago, and now we have 1. So whoever's out there watching right now, God bless you.
God bless you. All right, so TCU.
I think we know who it is.
Yeah.
But
so TCU, 18 returning starters. If there's any positive of this team that you can take is they're bringing back 10 on offense, 8 on defense. So really, they're top, and then also their top 4 receivers, depth and experience at the running back position, and they bring back Max Duggan. Max Duggan was a serviceable quarterback and did fine, but he wasn't blowing the doors off anybody. Coaching transition, big weakness on this team. Sonny Dykes coming in, taking over the reins for Gary Patterson. Huge shoes to fill after he was with the program for over 20 years. And it's going to really change the offense. And I don't know if they're going to be equipped to do what Sonny Dykes likes to do. And he likes to spread the ball, latex style, air raid style. What the Big 12 was used to seeing back in the day. That's the type of offense he's going to want to run there. And are those guys like ready to do that? And will adjust that quickly to his style? I don't know. So this team has a lot of experience coming back. They did okay last year. I think they're going to be on the cusp at the end of the season, fighting to get that 6th win to go to a bowl game. That's kind of where I see this team landing.
I think it changed my tune just a little bit.
Go ahead.
You kind of convinced me. You convinced me with the returning starters. I already knew they had a good defense. I think there was a reason why Gary Patterson was shown the door. And I think there's a good game plan in place for this team. You know how I hated Oklahoma State's schedule? I'm looking at TCU's schedule. Hold the front door. Colorado. They're going to demolish them. Colorado may be the worst team in the nation. Tarleton. Pun Picks already gave it as a lock, and I love locks. 2-0.
It's TCU money line.
SMU. Nice little coin flip for the boys.
Yep.
Let's say we go 3-0. Oklahoma 3-1. Kansas 4-1.
4-1.
Oklahoma State 5-1. Easy one. I'm just kidding. 4-2. Kansas
They've lost
State,
down there many times.
No, but Kansas State, as we said, they're going to beat some good teams. They may lose some bad teams. 5-2. West Virginia is a coin flip. 6. Texas Tech 7. And then Texas Baylor 7-4. Iowa State 8-4. So best case scenario 8-4 could be a 7-5.
Yeah.
Most likely 6-6. But what's the win total at? I mean, I'll take the over on that. If you're talking about starters returning,
it's 6.5.
About good defense, I'm in.
6.5.
Yep. 6.5. Yep. 6.5.
Is it juiced or is it like minus 110?
The over is plus money.
Oh. Mark it.
No, sorry. The under is plus money. Sorry. Under is plus money.
Oh, of course, yeah. All right, don't mark it. Okay, continue.
Probably it's like minus 115 or something to the over. Probably it's not too juiced.
So,
it's possible. There's a chance.
Yeah.
Game to watch. What are we thinking?
Man, you guys go ahead. I don't have a ton of games to watch.
I got
the TCU SMU one just because of Sonny Dykes.
I'm going to start off with a bang. I think it's going to be very telling. The game to watch is TCU versus Colorado. Game 1. Let's see what they got with all their horses crushing a team. Let's see them at their best.
Let's see what that offense can do. What's it going to look like?
If they struggle with Colorado, you'll know that prop bet is gone. You'll know that they stink. If they demolish them like good teams do, and they have their backups in the second half, then you're like, okay, TCU. Veteran leadership, defense. They just demolished Colorado 72-16. So
my game to watch, I'm looking at the 1st of October. They play Oklahoma at home. First big test of the year and in the Big 12. So I think that kind of opens up conference play for them against a team that owns them. I mean, there's nobody. I mean, you look at his history between these two teams. Oklahoma has dominated TCU. So there's a new regime, positive, negatives, and Lockbet's hit it on the point. It's like you're going to know within a couple weeks if that team's got some spunk and is going to be an electric offense to watch, or they're just going to fall flat on their face and look disorganized. Lost to Oklahoma 52-31 last year, 13-point dog. So keep that in mind when you see the line come out on that one, if it's going to go up or down or something like that. There may be a interesting spot for TCU in their first game in the Big 12 this season. So that's the game to watch. I got.
What do you figure the spread there was going to be like?
Well,
versus OU.
Are we going to the 21s?
Versus
OU. It's what, week 5? That's like week 5, right?
Week 4,
week 4, week 5.
It can't be under 14 though. Like it's got to be.
No, it'll be 17 or higher.
It's at home. It's at TCU's at home, by the way. Just keep that in mind. So I think if I were doing I would.
15, 16?
I'm leaning 10 and a half.
Really?
Yeah, I don't think there's going to be much of a. It's not going to be big. I mean, they're playing at home, so they're going to get the line's not going to be 13.
I think you guys think TCU's going to be way better than they are. I think they're going to be awful.
I love it.
But yeah, I don't know. I'm honestly.
They're not going to be. OU is going to be 17. The line's going to be. They're going to be bad.
I mean, when's the last time Sonny Dykes?
After all the good things I said about your team, you're coming at me.
Well, you're not a TCU fan. Listen to the South Carolina. I talk good about South Carolina when you weren't on here.
Thank you.
Like experience is everything in college football. I just don't know if that's going to work with the jive with Sonny Dykes.
No,
maybe with Gary Patterson, but we'll see.
Right. Listen, I think a lot of the college football is your schedule, and I don't mind their schedule. So
yeah, they have a great schedule. You're not wrong.
Embrace debate.
I mean, Oklahoma State has the worst month in all of college football. Can we go back to that point? The worst I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, there's some SEC teams and some Big Ten teams that have similar.
You're doing a pretty good job with combating the salt and pepper look because you are all pepper right now. Like all the black hairs are good. October rolls around. Like you gonna be okay?
You're gonna be just fermenting, hiding that soy sauce there.
You got a buzz cut. You got a buzz cut for October, just to like give the grains a little break.
Fresh. I need a fresh.
Yeah.
All right, next
just
team
for
up.
men.
Next team up to bat.
Up to bat
is the Mountaineers. Take me home, country road. I'm wearing the jersey, the Pat White, Slayton, Will Greer. So many greats that played at West Virginia. And now we're in a season where they have another transfer quarterback coming in JT Daniels. Pun picks. What do you think of West Virginia this season?
West Virginia, to me, great defense, okay? They're going to have a really, really good defense. Maybe the best in the Big 12, underrated. But they have a tough schedule. You want to talk about tough schedules? Open up at Pittsburgh, then go their other non-conference test is at Virginia Tech. I heard this. I don't know if Towson is the stat could be wrong, but I think they're one of the only teams in the country that are playing all Power 5. Their entire schedule is all Power 5 teams.
Wow.
If Towson is a Power 5 team, I don't think they are.
I don't think they are. They're FCS.
But so I think that radio person might have stumbled on their stat there. But that being said, I put them in the Iowa State, Kansas State, middle of the pack Big 12 team. I think a lot of people have them down real low. I think Daniels is going to be a breath of fresh air for them.
Yeah, for sure.
I think Neil Brown is a good coach. This is a must-win season for him. And I think he's going to coach like it.
Lock bets. What do you think? You have any thoughts on West Virginia?
I sure do.
Win total is 5.5, by the way.
Give it to me.
Take me home.
So I'm going to give it to you right now. JT Daniels will go down in NCAA history as one of the worst career journeymen's for us to ever predict.
He's no Will Greer, is what you're trying to tell me? He's no Will Greer?
No, because Will Greer actually found college success at some point. JT Daniels is gonna fall flat on his face, And unfortunately, this will be one of the worst West Virginia teams we've seen in the modern era. And it's going to shake up Morgantown pretty significantly, unfortunately. With that being said, I do think they'll win one game that they shouldn't. And I'll tell you in a bit who I think that game will be.
Yeah. My thoughts on West Virginia, really. JT Daniels, the addition, is like that's going to be a huge strength for him. That's an upgrade. He's got the pedigree. He's done well at Georgia. Losing his job to a journeyman was kind of a rough one. But
he lost his job to a fucking a sixth-year senior who was not on scholarship.
Yeah, well, you win a national championship. They love the quarterback. So this year's Mountaineers offense will be. I think they're going to be shifting because this team was more like they wanted to run the ball 80% of the time. They had Letty Brown. Baylor. Yeah. They're very let the defense do their job and let's have a 12-13 play drive down the field and we're just going to give it to Letty Brown the whole way. And let him score at the goal line. So I think they're going to transition more towards that offense that you saw. Granted, different coach. Well, I don't know if Neil Brown even has the air raid style offense in him, but if they have JT Daniels, you want to utilize that weapon. You're going to have to be throwing the ball.
Yep.
Weakness, Letty Brown gone. That really hurts them in the running game. But if they're going to be transitioned to the passing game, may not hurt them as much as people think. I disagree with you on the defensive side, Pun. Is because that is going to be a rebuilding point. This team, granted, the last 2 or 3 years have been very good on the defense. It's been their strength. I mean, I was highly taking West Virginia numbers all the time. I thought they were undervalued in a lot of spots. I believe last year or in the year before. But when you saw their production between the offense side and the defensive side, they were always winning at the net yardage battle, which is huge. That's what wins you ball games. But I think their defense is going to take a step back this season, and the offense is going to really have to step up, and it's going to be on the shoulders of JT Daniels to produce for that offense to keep them in games.
Say that one more time.
Say what? It's going to be on JT Daniels' shoulders to carry that team and actually put up points.
Say that again.
It's going to be up to JT Daniels to put the team on his shoulders and carry them on the offensive side because the defense is going to be giving up a lot more points this year than they have been.
So in conclusion, it's going to be on JT Daniels.
That's correct.
To carry this offense.
Yes.
Yep.
All right. That's going to be the clip. That's going to be a clip. Cut right there. That's the clip.
Because it's going to be a difference between if this team can win 7 to 9 games to win in 3
So
to
is
5.
it safe to say live and die by JT Daniels?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's scary to say.
Imagine if he shocks the world and JT Daniels is the Big 12 player of the year.
Hey, crazier things have happened for sure.
Why not?
Let's see him. He's going to have the reign. It's his job. It's the first time in a long time. It's his job.
I love a nice juicy line.
I mean, what do you got? You got JT Daniels, you got Bijan Robinson, you got Quinn Ewers, you have
Dylan Gabriel, Spencer Sanders.
Oh, come on.
We got Staley too.
Well, he was the quarterback of the year. He was the offensive player of the year in the conference last season, dude. Spencer Sanders was.
Fair. But
and he's coming back.
I don't know. I don't like his completion rate. I don't like
he's 64% or 65%, something like that.
Well, now he doesn't have much of a run game.
Completed a lot of passes for sure, boys.
All right, I know. You got the bias. But yeah.
But
all right. I know what you mean. To watch. I mean, let's not spending more time on West Virginia. It's all on JT Daniels. We all agree.
Games to watch. There's
game
no
to watch. Do we have one for West Virginia?
Wait, Pun. I'm not sure if Guns is being sarcastic when he says that.
What?
About what?
What do you do?
About JT Daniels.
Oh, he likes him.
No, I really don't know. In theory, it should be an upgrade. But
it should be.
You Pun made the point. It's like you don't know how these transfers are gonna adapt. And I don't really know if Neil Brown has a system or his
offense. They're installing a vertical offense, and they're going to be getting the ball downfield. Which
when do we preview Houston and
that's going to be a recording. It's going to be the last one. We're going to actually do all the G5 ones all together and just kind of select handpick teams.
How's that guy doing? What's his name?
Nick Toon.
No. The coach of Houston.
Dana Holgerson.
Yeah.
How's Dana?
He's doing well. He's got that.
They do a whole podcast on his stories.
Yeah, drinks a shitload of Red Bull.
Oh yeah.
No, but you guys remember the stories of him at West Virginia with the casinos?
Oh yeah.
Let's just do it.
Do you not know these stories?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We don't do a Holgerson.
I heard him come on PMT.
Dude, he would get kicked out of these casinos, and he would be like larger than life, be like, "I'm the head coach of West Virginia." And they'd be like, "No, you're not. You're just a drunk. Get the fuck out of here." And he'd be like, "No, I'm playing the West Virginia head coach card," and nobody would believe him. And like literally, he was the head coach of West Virginia football. And then eventually, they were like, "Okay, we're gonna give him leniency. Like he's fine." But no, he had a nice little run there.
All right,
so let's speed through these last ones.
Okay, yeah. So I mean, my game to watch on that one is Kansas State. West Virginia beat them 5 straight matchups, but lost last year on the road, 34-17. So it's a revenge game, and they're playing at home. So maybe a spot where you can take out Kansas State, especially a team that you've historically owned, except for last year. So that's the game. If you guys got a game, or we can move on to the next one.
I got something.
Okay.
After.
No, go ahead.
I'm gonna put that steak knife right into the side of pun picks. I do really believe that West Virginia is gonna play the villain here for Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State, and
the last game of the year,
November 26th. I think Thanksgiving is going to be ruined, but Oklahoma State comes back at the end. They'll win, but West Virginia versus Oklahoma State, November 26th. Mark your calendars. Take that spread, left, right, center. West Virginia comes back with a bang, saves their coach's job, and they'll cover that 12.5 spread.
Good spot. Yeah, I don't disagree.
You got a game, Pun?
No, I do not.
I was hoping you just give me a little bit of filler time because I was going to share something.
Sorry, I don't have a game.
So,
what are you going to share here? Oh no, this is going to be bad, isn't it? This is going to be really bad.
Me home to a place.
What a lame looking little concert that is.
West Virginia, Mountain Mama, take me home.
Great mascot, great atmosphere, shitty team.
Yes.
All right.
Texas Tech. Guns up, folks. The Red Raiders. Boo, boo, boo. This team is a disaster. I'll start with you, Pun. What do you think of the Red Raiders?
I love their coach. They're 2 years behind. Super exuberant guy. Wants them to win right away. The sneaky thing about Tech to look forward to is their NIL deals. They have a deal in place right now to pay all their players $25,000 each, which is a big deal for a team like Texas Tech. It's something that Oklahoma State doesn't have in place. It's something that Iowa State doesn't have in place. So they're ahead of the game on there. They have money. That's what Texas Tech has to look forward to in the future. This season is going to be tough. They have a tough schedule. Host Houston. Is that game at Tech or is that a neutral? Yeah, it's in Dallas. So a neutral field game versus Houston, and then they what's their other tough game? Guns. Help me here.
Texas?
Texas Tech. No. Non-conference. NC State at NC State.
That's right.
Yes. And NC State is projected to be pretty good. So starting tough, ending tough with OU. It's going to be a rough one for the Red Raiders. But like I said, they're you don't want to play them at home. The game to watch, I'm going to go ahead and jump ahead real quick. Game to watch is Baylor. Texas, Baylor at Tech. They will play them tough. They don't have enough gas, but the tortillas will be flying. They'll make that an atmosphere night game. ESPN. It'll be a fun watch. It'll be a very fun watch. They're redoing their field out there. They've got some things in the works. They're redoing their stadium. Their end zone, you'll see it during that game. So Texas Tech has some work to do. They're on the rise. They're not there yet.
Yep. I can do Texas Tech real quick. Lack of experience.
Yeah, Guns, you got to go. I'm working on a new background, so give me
okay. No, I'm gonna start firing here. Lack of experience. 12 returning starters, and they have a new coach, Joey McGuire. No experience. Who has? I didn't see much experience in his position, especially as a head coach. So this is kind of a weird hire. But you know, if there's enthusiasm there, I think that will kind of resonate into the players. They lose their top 3 tacklers on defense, but I mean Texas Tech doesn't have a defense anyways. Backfield is all back. That's a strength, not including Tyler Slough, their quarterback, and they have a nice core of running backs. I know they lost a few running backs there, but
so he's the transfer from Oregon. We should mention that.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
So you mentioned it. Tough schedule. They ranked 14th toughest schedule in the country. They got to play Houston at NC State, Texas at Kansas State, at Oklahoma State, West Virginia, Baylor, and Oklahoma at the end of the year. That is a gauntlet.
It's a gauntlet. Yeah.
Absolute gauntlet, including not just your regular conference schedule, but non-conference too. It's just absolutely brutal schedule. Game to watch. I wrote Texas. It's just they got to come back and
for a similar reason to my Baylor. Yeah. For a similar
it's just they got murdered 70-35, murdered last year.
Well, and that could be a game to watch for Texas too. That's a good barometer to see where Texas is.
Yeah, I mean, right? I don't expect. I mean, really, do you think they can beat them by 35 again? Double them up, Texas? Maybe. I don't know.
Maybe.
But I think if I was Texas Tech, man, would I just want to come out and play my best game here, including Baylor too.
I think they're gonna play hard. I think they're gonna play really, really hard, and that means something.
Yeah. We'll see with this team. I just think they're on a rebuild, and I have them at the bottom of the heap as far as their performance this year. Kansas,
so we have
one more
next.
Yep, Kansas. You want to start, or I can start?
We can tag team it. Kansas is improving.
Yes,
they have gotten a lot better. They've got a lot of. They transfer portaled the hell up this season. Yeah. Got a good coach. They've got a lot of improvement to make. Their team total is 3.5, 2.5?
2.5,
so
I think. Yeah.
They need 3 wins. So you're going to have to beat Duke probably to get that, which is kind of funny to say. But the Big 12 needs Kansas to be good. Let's be honest. Oh, there's Charlie Weiss.
What a jerk.
But for
hey there, guys. Sorry about that.
That's a Kansas coach you pick.
Are you behind the FUPA? I can't see you.
They're still paying him. So,
yeah.
until 2025.
Look at him with his arms folded. He's just like, yeah,
Notre
Dame's still paying me at that point.
So Kansas is in big trouble.
Well, I was going to say Kansas was, but I didn't know Notre Dame was still.
Yeah. I don't know if they're still paying him, but they're paying him for a while.
My game to watch, Guns?
Yeah.
Texas at Kansas.
Yes, that's the game. I didn't even pick a game. That was what I didn't have a game.
If you're picking a Kansas game to watch, that's going to be it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the game.
They won. So to remind everybody, Kansas beat Texas 57-56 in overtime last year.
They had a strong back end of their schedule. So they really finished the year strong. And I think what Leopold is bringing over there at Kansas may be resonating with the players. They're bringing back 17 starters, 9 on offense, 8 on defense, including their quarterback last year, Jalen Daniels, and the running back who was really good last year. Kind of impressive, but Devin Neal.
Yeah, he's a good player.
He's a real good player. And I think, give him another couple years. I want to see where this team goes to a point maybe where they're at a Kansas State level. That'd be kind of an improvement. Anything is better for the Jayhawks.
Pretty crazy to think they went to the Orange Bowl with Todd Reesing and those guys.
They're still inexperienced, though. Real young team. And a lot of the guys haven't really played each other that much, so it's just another year of experience. Maybe they keep a lot of these guys next year and they kind of grow from there. But Lance Leopold doing a tremendous job there. I think he had a decent season. Granted, it didn't help into the win totals, but they were competing at the end of the year. Win over Texas, lost to TCU by 3, lost to West Virginia by 6. This is not your typical speed bump of a team that you're used to. This team will compete. And I think they're kind of gelling with Lance Leopold. So that's what I think of Kansas. But they're still at the bottom.
Let's give our rankings here. Let's give our rankings. Give the fellas some picks.
Yep.
Hightail it the hell.
I supposed to talk about Kansas.
Well, he already said enough.
He's got the background. Look at him.
What else needs to be said?
I thought I had something to say.
Look at he is that bot.
Enough said.
Charlie Weiss is a specimen.
Guys, we want to talk about athleticism. We want to talk about like the highest echelon you can get in college sports. The highest point in coaching that you can get, at least payment-wise, is being the head coach at University of Notre Dame. This man right here, right there. Right there. He was the head coach for, about 9 years, 8 years?
No.
6?
3?
We make 3?
Guys.
He lost to Navy. He lost to Syracuse.
He lost to Syracuse, yeah. I was at the Syracuse game.
I was at the Navy game.
And then he gets hired by Kansas. Kansas thinks they have the next second coming. Then Kansas goes to Les Miles, another real winner. Kansas, get it right. Get it right, my man.
Should have never fired Mangino.
This is a future TikTok, by the way. This is my new TikTok.
I want to see this.
Do you guys remember this man? Wait. Do you guys remember this man right here? When you were growing up, that's Charlie Weiss. He was fired by the University of Notre Dame in 2000 and what? 9?
8, 9, 8.
Well,
something like that.
Let me tell you about his career earnings. This 2009. Man right here, he earned a total of $122 million over his coaching career. $22 million of it was from University of Notre Dame until 2017, 9 years after he stopped coaching Notre Dame. They paid him until 2017. So, football players out there, if you're not that good at sports, look to coaching. You can always become Charlie Weiss.
They fired Willingham for him.
For him.
The power of Belichick.
Yeah.
The power
and I have
of
that for the preview. I was going to say, though, does Kansas still have that electric quarterback? He got hurt last year, didn't he? Or 2 years ago?
Are we talking Jalen Daniels?
Yeah, he's a pretty good runner.
Yeah.
He's
mobile.
I think they're going to be better. They're going to be in a lot of games. Let's agree on that. They're going to be in a lot of games. I think they're going to be a good dog. They're going to be a live dog plus 15 at times.
If you get a 2-score plus 15 plus 16 and they're playing somewhere in the a mediocre above average Big 12 team, this team will might sneak a win off you. You don't know.
Totally. And look out for that Texas game.
Let's
rank them.
Let's rank them. So
you guys want to go first? You want me to go?
Yeah, go ahead. You go first.
All right. I got OU 1, Baylor 2, Oklahoma State 3, and I have Baylor and Oklahoma State tied, but Baylor has the tiebreaker because they're going to win that head-to-head matchup in Waco.
Yep.
Texas 4, West Virginia 5, which is kind of going out there. Mm-hmm. Kansas State 6, TCU 7, Iowa State 8. I think Iowa State's going to struggle.
Yeah.
Texas Tech 9, KU 10.
You want to do the rankings, Locke, or you want me to go?
You can go.
All right. So I'm going to start from bottom to top because this is like the Letterman countdown or whatever. So number 11, Kansas, KU.
10.
Did I? Oh, yes, you're right. Oops. Let me.
The Big 12 has 10 teams.
That's right. No, I doubled up TCU. So 10 Kansas.
Yep.
9 the Red Raiders. Guns up, guns down, no bullets. 8 Iowa State.
We're simpatico.
7 TCU.
We're simpatico.
6 West Virginia.
Okay, we differ.
5 Kansas State.
Okay.
4. This is where it gets interesting. I've probably swapped this to top 4 like too many times.
Totally. Me too.
So I may change my mind later on in the season. But I'm going to take Baylor at 4.
Okay.
Number 3, Hook 'em Horns, Texas.
Okay.
And maybe I just want to see this matchup in the Big 12 championship. But number 2, Oklahoma State. Number 1, Oklahoma.
Love it. Love it. Oh,
and that's my
Sarkeesian.
winner. Oklahoma. It's going to be I hope it's a tremendous game, but I'm going to take Oklahoma in the championship.
I can't do it. I couldn't do it if that happened. All right, Locke. All right, Sarkeesian. What are you going to pour us here? You're muted.
Jesus Christ.
All right, who's ready?
Oh, if you're listening in Spotify, this background is Sarkeesian pouring himself a healthy drink.
A healthy.
I think this is the same meme from like Wedding Crashers or something.
It kind of looks like the Wedding Crashers scene where he's pouring the priest.
Yeah,
full glass.
Oh, it's definitely a Photoshop.
Take a little of the sacrament. Take a little of the sacrament. Get it while it's hot.
I actually had a really good one of him looking absolutely demolished, but I couldn't get it in. So, Sarkeesian, the captain of chaos.
Ooh.
Captain of chaos. All right, so we're going for the bottom, right?
Yeah, bottom, top,
whatever
top,
you want to
bottom,
do.
whatever you want to do.
All right, we're going to start at the bottom, and I agree with Pun. Kansas last. We're going to go Iowa State second to last. Texas Tech third to last. West Virginia fourth to last. TCU fifth to last. Kansas State sixth to last. Texas 7. Baylor 8. Oklahoma 9, Oklahoma State 10. So Oklahoma State's winning this thing.
Let's go.
I don't
Let's go.
I don't hate it. I'm telling you, I swapped Oklahoma State and Oklahoma so many times.
All right, quickly. We're running up on 2 hours. Let's get our picks in. All right.
Team total.
Let's go around the horn. I have 3. How many do you have, Guns?
I have 4 and a nuke.
And Locke, do you have any?
I'll go last. I'll find something.
Okay, all my 3 of mine I consider my top plays. By the way, go ahead, Lens. You start.
Okay, so we just doing one pick at a time. Let's
do them all.
All right. So let's start with. I'll do the nuke last. I got Oklahoma over 9. I just think this team is going to be back where it was last year, and hopefully they get over the hump. We'll see. Baylor over 7.5.
Yeah.
I think I don't think they have the tremendous season, but I think they get over the.
Yeah.
8.
What are we missing there? What? Why is that so low?
It's because they lost. It's because the experience isn't coming back. I mean, they have Aranda, but I think the parts and pieces that made them
Vegas might be telling us something there, but I agree with you. All right,
they're gonna have a drop off, but I think they get over 8 wins. And then over Kansas State 6.5. I like that one a lot, but it's not a nuke. My nuke bomb. Under 6.5 Iowa State. Those are my plays. Those are the four I like.
Okay, so we agree with OU, but I took OU over 9.5. I got it plus 125.
Okay.
10 wins is very doable. Baylor over 7.5. It's juiced minus 150, but I think it's still a worthy bet because I could see them winning 8 games very easily.
Yep.
And then my last play is TCU under 6.5 plus 105. I think they're going to miss Patterson. It's just a lot of moving parts at TCU right now. Lock bets. And what do you got?
Master at team totals, win totals. Let's go.
Listen, man, I'm scrolling right now. I want can you guys provide me the lines if I tell you?
Yeah.
So I have 2 futures that I'm locking in right now. Baylor plus 650 for the Big 12, and I have Oklahoma State plus 550. So I'm gonna do. I put $75 on each of them, so I guess that's like 0.75 units on each.
Nice.
Tremendous upside. I think I'm just fading Oklahoma. I think this is anybody's conference. So I think the two best teams that are set up for success are Baylor and Oklahoma State.
Yep.
I'm selling Oklahoma all day. So if you want to come to me at a bar with Steve Sarkisian, we're going to sit down. We're going to drink a bottle of scotch, and I'm going to tell you why Oklahoma stinks.
Notice we all kind of overlooked Texas. We all just said,
yes. Yeah.
Texas.
We're not even
Yeah,
Texas.
I think we've
Texas and Tennessee. Those 2 teams, to me, are hype, and just fall off the cliff. Those 2 teams, Tennessee.
So this is a consensus pick,
Same
guys.
colors,
If
too.
you guys are watching still, pun, lock, and guns, we are all admitting to you right now that Texas doesn't have a shot.
It's in audio. It's not in writing. It's in.
I ranked them 3rd,
okay. So Oklahoma State over 8.5 wins. That's gonna be a 2-unit play for me. Plus 105.
Okay.
He had 8.5. I said
it's 8.5. Yeah, it's 8.5.
I had 9.
I had 8.5 too.
I had plus 8.5, plus 105.
Yeah, I had 8.5 too.
I'll have to go look. I'm gonna find that. I'm gonna go grab that 8.5. That's
Baylor's 7.5 lock. Baylor's 7.5 lock.
Who also was I? Baylor 7.5.
And you like K-State. You like K-State a lot.
So what's their win total?
Over 6.5.
I believe it's 6.5.
Yeah. So I want them.
All right.
Put 2 units on them.
Yeah, I'm with you. I took them too.
I will summarize these and put them out.
Who else did I like? Who did I say was going to be 8-0?
Before the Baylor game.
K-State.
Yeah. No.
No.
It was Baylor. Right?
Might have been TCU.
No, Baylor, I think.
It was Baylor.
Oh, it was Baylor.
Because they play Oklahoma or something, right?
It was Baylor.
Yeah. I'll take their over win total as well.
Over 7.5.
And then I'll take under West Virginia 5.5.
Yeah, I like that.
I think West Virginia. I'm sorry, Guns. I love you to death, but JT Daniels ain't in it.
No, my point was he's not. They're going to have to rest on him. I didn't say he's going to be successful.
He ain't it, Guns.
What?
He ain't
it.
He ain't it.
He ain't it. All right, boys.
All right. That's going to do it. We just wrapped up the Big 12. Next one on.
Any comments? Any comments here to answer?
No. We had more comments last week, but feel free to comment below. We'll share the video about 1,000 times so you guys can all see it. For those who watch now, who watch later, we all appreciate you. And next week we'll be doing the ACC. Man, next week was week 0. Week 0 is next week.
Let's go.
We can watch 2 shit teams in Dublin. That's going to do it for episode 91 of the Dadbodd podcast. Till next time when we break down the ACC. Peace.
Go Pokes.